Sophia and this is Sis Crafting. Today I'm going to be showing all of you how to make this fun wire flower hair comb. For this tutorial you're going to need some thin wire, a circular mandrel, you can also use a pencil, some fun nail polish, wire tools. I use both of these. This one isn't mandatory, but this one you definitely need. You're going to need something to cut your wire. Your hair comb, a hot glue gun, and I use a toothpick just to clean up my flower, but it's not necessary. Alright, let's get started. Alrighty guys, so we're going to start by making our flowers, okay? So for this part we're going to need, you can use a pencil, I'm just using a marker, or one of these. I like to use these personally. You have lots of different shapes and lots of different sizes. There are also different shapes. But since we're making a flower, it's going to be a circle. And you can use a pencil or marker or something like that, but I'm just going to use this for the tutorial. But it's the exact same thing if you're using a pencil, okay? Alright, so we're going to take our wire, and I'm using gold wire. Honestly, the color doesn't matter too much. It doesn't show too much. And then I've got my wire tools. You can do it without your wire tools. I'm going to be using them, but you absolutely can do it without them, okay? It's pretty thin wire, so it's pretty easy to use. Alright. So when we start, we're going to want to leave a little bit of a tail on our flower, okay? So we're going to leave a little bit. And then I like to use the second size, okay? So I'm going to give yourself a little extra space, okay? And I'm going to wrap it around. So you just wrap it around your pencil or whatever you're using, okay? We're going to wrap it around, kind of pinch it, and then you just want to twist it once. You can twist it twice. I personally just like once. It makes it very separated. So you want the petals kind of closer together. Alright, so there's our petal number one. So then we are going to bring our wire out again. So the long piece, the piece that's still connected to our big wire, we're going to take that and wrap it around. Now you want to get as close as possible here, because if not, you'll have petals sticking out. So this time you can either twist, or I'm going to bring it around. And honestly, each flower is not going to be the same. So I'm going to take it and bring it around this other petal, kind of around like that, and that secures it. Okay, so just twist it around. All the twists are going to be different, so just don't worry about it. Alright, so now we've got our wire back. So I'm going to be making 5 petals on this flower. You can of course make as many as you like, but I like the 5-petal flower. So we're taking again our working, that's a good idea, yeah, our working wire, and we're going to take it and again wrap it around, okay? Make sure it's nice and tight and twist it once, okay? Alright, and then we're going to bring our working wire back. Honestly, it doesn't matter where you start each petal, as long as you make sure they're all kind of close together. So if you can see my flower, they're all pretty close. They're not like super separated. So that's the way you're going to want your flower. Okay? So you may have to move these petals out of the way just a little bit so you can fit all your petals in. Okay? So now we're going to wrap it around again. Pull it nice and tight. And twist. Alrighty guys, now we have 4. So I'm just going to wrap it around, kind of around some other petals, just to give it a little extra security. Okay. And honestly, that kind of builds up your center a little bit as well. So especially since this is wire, it's very moldable, so you can't really mess up. You can always play with your flower, your petals, till you can get them to where you like them. So now that I've got 5, I'm going to take my wire cutters. That's the only thing. Cutters are really the only thing you're going to need out of your wire tools. unless, I mean, I'm sure you can find something else to cut the wire, but it's definitely helpful to have a wire cutter, okay? And we're gonna cut our working wire. We're gonna cut it even with our little tail that we left, okay? All right. And then I like using these. They're nice and flat. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna twist the stem together. Okay, so we have our two loose. We're just gonna twist it. You twist to like how tight it is. All right. So now, if you weren't using a pencil or a marker before, I would take that out now, and we're gonna use this. So our petals are now like really flat. We're gonna give them a little bit of a curve, okay? You don't have to, but I like adding a little curve to my petals. So this is a little bit tricky because all the petals are like right next to each other. So you're gonna have to adjust your flower a little bit. And then what I do is I take the tip, I press it to my round surface, and just kind of pull it and press it against that surface, and that gives it the nice curve. So depending on your surface, you're gonna get a tighter curve or a wider curve. So this is kind of wide, so it gave me a pretty wide curve. So I went ahead and used this. The little small one gives me a pretty steep curve there, so that's the way I'm gonna do it. Alright, so there we go. We have our petals nice and bent. And now I'm going to be making 4 more of these, since I'm going to be putting them on the hair comb like I'll show you later. So you can make as many as you like, but I'm going to go ahead and make the rest of those now. Alright guys, now that I've made the 4 flowers for my hair comb, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next step, which is actually coloring our flowers. So I'm going to cover my surface. I would definitely recommend that you do too. We're going to be using nail polish, and this does get a bit messy. Alright, so you're going to go ahead and pick your colors. I'm going with more like neutral colors for this specific hair comb. So you're going to go ahead and take your flower, and what you're going to want to do with your nail polish, you're going to hold your flower up, and with your nail polish you want to make sure you've got a lot on there, okay? So I've got like a bunch on there, and so because what we're going to do is we're going to swipe it across the petal, and what we're doing is we're creating a giant nail polish bubble, okay? So what's important is you're touching both sides of the wire the entire way down, and you want to make sure you have lots of nail polish on your actual brush, okay? So let's try this again. Both sides, swipe it across. Now keep in mind, it's not going to work every time, okay? It may take a few tries. Don't worry about it, just keep going. You'll get it eventually, okay? So my petal, I guess, I don't know, like right now if you can see, is a very thin bubble here. So I may go back later and polish it again, so that way I get a darker color. It's a bit tricky to go back and add more nail polish now, since there's a good chance it'll just make your little nail polish bubble pop. Alright, there we go. So we've done our first flower. So you're going to go ahead and do this with all of your flowers. Alright guys, so my flowers are nice and dry now. I went ahead and added another layer of our nail polish, so that way they'd be less clear and a little more opaque. And then I also went ahead and added a metallic nail polish on top of that, so they'd have like a nice little sheen. Alright, so now that we've done that, I'm going to use a toothpick. But it honestly doesn't matter. You may not even have this problem. But sometimes what happens is the nail polish will get stuck between the petals. So I just like to clean that up. So I just kind of take my toothpick and just want to clear it out. See, sometimes it's just a drop. You just want to be careful because you don't want to break your bubbles. If not, you'll have to start over with that petal. Alrighty guys, so now I've cleaned up my flowers a bit. Of course this isn't necessary, but that's just my personal preference. You can absolutely leave that extra nail polish there. Okay, so now since I'm going to be putting my flowers onto a hair comb, I'm going to be cutting them. Now you don't need to do this. Of course there are many other uses you can have for these flowers, but I'm going to cut it since it's for the hair comb. Okay, so what I'm going to do is you want to try to make it as flat as possible. I'm going to go ahead and get really up there on the stem and just trim it as flush with the base as possible, okay? There you go, so it's nice and flat, okay? Alright, next one. Alright, so our flowers are nice and cut out now. I kind of have a pattern in which they're going. I'm just going to lay them out so they're ready. And now we're going to glue them to our hair comb. So I'm going to start with the one, I'm going to actually be overlapping them. So I'm going to be starting with the one that I want on the bottom. And I'm putting this on the left side. I'm going to take my hot glue gun, just put a little dollop of hot glue there. Let me glue it down. Now we'll take our next flower, more hot glue. So I just kind of overlap my flowers. And then I'm going to go ahead and try to remove any hot glue I've got. Just a little bit there. You just want to clean it up a little bit. Alrighty guys, now that we've gone ahead and adjusted our comb and removed the extra hot glue, we are done. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you do decide to follow it, we would love to see it. You can post it on Instagram and tag us at syscrafting747 so we can see it, and maybe we'll even feature it on our Instagram or YouTube. Alright guys, that's it for today. We hope you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.